and he's closing this sale, and he says something like, what'll it take for me to get your business? Okay, I'll do that, and give you 50% off, right?
Yes,
hangs up
on $1 million sale.
Yes. His friend comes over. Hey, what's all the racket over here? I just closed $1 million sale. So that means the sale would have been $2 million.
$2 million. It's the most incredible. It's like the guy just handed away half the money.
Yep, half the money plus whatever else they wanted, right?
I can't help thinking, somewhere in the universe, there has to be something better than man. Has to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ascension to 10.
Who's back? We're back. Ascension to 10 podcast.
Oh man, you're so blurry right now.
Shoot. Nothing's changed over here.
2 years in, still the same.
Has it been 2 years?
Yeah, we started in 22.
Sheesh.
So I think it was February 22.
Wow.
But we're back. And here we are.
Episode
we're actually
50. What is this? 54. Season 2, episode 2.
Season 2, season 2, episode 2. For those keeping track.
Yeah, because we're different now. This is a different season, different vibe.
we
do things different now.
We do things different, but everything's the same.
We failed to mention last time. That so the original circumstances for us starting season 2 would be the conclusion of the Fat Face Challenge, right? We're going to do a weigh-in.
Yeah.
Shirt off pics before and after. And we
do
totally
a calendar.
Yeah, right. Calendar. the Tasteful Nudes calendar. The Ascension to 10 boys. What we failed to, I guess, even bring up is that, I think I casually threw out that you were doing a half marathon that we just completely ignored. But in the spirit of this being season 2 and different, but also the same,
right?
We have both been back at it for a pseudo fat face challenge.
Fitnessing.
A different
We're back at
fitnessing. Yeah. I guess 'tis the season, right? Because it's spring when we're recording this, and it's a little bit easier to get into it and stick with it.
Yeah.
But so you have your half marathon in June, right?
That's right. June 1st.
Right.
Doing a half marathon. Yep.
And how's the training going?
Good. Killed it so far. Basically been doing it for a week, so.
You're ready then.
Yeah. I did the longest run I've done in like 2 years on Saturday after like just a week of running. So I don't know why, but I hit my pace that I wanted to be at, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm going to just kill it because nothing's going to, come in the way in the next 2 months that can cause anything that would make me, not train or,
why would you think that?
Take a day off or eat something that's bad or any of that, So be ready for it. But you've been doing some pool stuff. You're a full blown gym rat right now.
A little bit of cross training here, a little bit of cross training there. So I joined a gym, partly because it was a really good deal for me at the time. But this gym has a pool, which is hard to find in the area. And it didn't cost an insane amount of money. So yes, I have been doing some swimming and running and lifting weights and doing more yoga than I had in the past. Yoga is pretty fun. My wife is a yoga instructor, and so when I can, I like to take her class, although it's hard now with having a baby. Can't really just ditch her.
Put her on your back.
Put her on her back. But yeah, it's been a few weeks now of doing that.
Do you feel like you have more mobility? Or your ankles no longer feel like they're going to break?
So I haven't run outside at all during this whole process because
I think you should just not run outside at all, because that usually is what happens.
Yeah, so I have no plans to run outside at all. I'm perfectly happy with my treadmilling.
So this could be the longest you've done fitness without breaking something.
Yes. However, I sent you a text this week, and on Monday of this week, for you, it doesn't matter, right? The listener, it doesn't matter. But a few days ago, I was doing I ran on the treadmill, and then I was doing a bunch of barbell workouts, and I was doing squats. I was feeling great. And the last rep of my second to last set, I stood up, and it felt like an explosion went off in my right temple. And
you're not breathing.
I don't know what was happening. I thought that everything was happening. I was doing everything the same. I thought my technique was good. I felt fine. I didn't feel like I was really straining, but my head just... And then, honestly, I kind of haven't been the same since. That was 3 days ago.
Good.
So
keep that right up.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much, I don't know. Do you call that a sports injury?
I guess.
So sadly, I haven't worked out since because every time
man dies squatting when he hemorrhages from his system.
Well, and I continued to work out. So that was the first.
I know that feeling though.
Workout. That was the first exercise I was doing while lifting weights. And so then I did the rest of what I was going to do, and my head slowly started feeling slightly better. But ever since then, every time I do anything other than sitting down, I get a headache.
Oh,
and
great.
And it's pretty much right on time for about 4 or 5 weeks in, and I
might as well take
hurt
a break.
myself doing might as well take it about 4 or 5 weeks in. Probably better take 4 or 5 months off now. Try and get this headache situation figured out.
You might as well just go get a line right now. Go get a line of Oreos and just
Yep. So, well, no, hopefully I'm gonna hit the pool tomorrow.
Nice.
See if I just need to get back into it.
Nice. Okay. Good.
But yeah, it's been good, and we're both. I think what is helping is that we're not competing against each other this time around, and we're not. Yeah, we haven't set up a single. What do you call the
watch?
The Apple Watch, head to head.
And I did a challenge with another group of friends, and it was literally the exact same thing.
Really?
We did a week of it, and it was literally, and we did it where like for every 30 minutes you got a point, and for every 10,000 steps you got a point. So, I mean, one of the guys in the group
about
was
5 points a day.
Yeah, one of the guys was on the treadmill just during meetings the whole time, and he racked up like 30,000 steps. And I was like, "This is fucking ridiculous! Like, this is not fair. Like, I can't."
Now you know how I feel.
That. And I'm dying. I'm dying here. Like, I was running and all this other stuff, and it's like, dude, at some point, like, this is not sustainable, nor is it healthy because you do so much, and then the next week it was like, well, we're not doing a contest. So I was like, I don't want to do anything. Like it was way too hard. So yeah.
And then you actually feel good finally. You're just killing yourself.
I will say that now that we're doing fitness, I am much more into having cool looking stuff. So
clothes.
Like I got new shoes and I got socks that went with it, and they're like,
oh yeah,
and I think they're awesome.
Oh yeah.
No one else cares, but I was like, oh yeah, this is sweet. Like, feel good,
look good, run good, right?
Look good, run good, look good, feel good.
Yep, you're gonna look so good on that half marathon.
Yeah, I'm looking at more neon clothes that I can buy so I can be ready for my half marathon. Spend way too much money on just random shit just to be like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna find me. I've got to find myself a Ken visor from the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you got to buy the technical running gear, right? Because obviously, if you buy this stuff from Kmart, you're gonna run slower, and so
right, exactly. I mean, golly, you get what you pay for.
I started lap swimming in grad school many years ago, and I did it for, I don't know, 9 or 10 months. And it was a lot of fun. And I had never lap swum before, so I didn't have the tight fitting shorts, the Speedo type swimwear. So when I was getting more serious about it, I got the tight Speedo shorts, but they're super long, and they went down kind of to mid knee.
Yeah, that's called.
And at the time, it was kind of fine, but this time around, I was swimming, and it just was really uncomfortable right behind my knee, right? Because I would start peeling them up, and so I did some just super quick Amazon searching and got. Basically, it's not a Speedo, but it's the closest thing to a Speedo, and so basically, I feel much more serious now about this swim because I'm almost in the full Speedo.
Did you get like a Euro cut suit?
It's I don't know. It's basically just a square. It's like a sensor bar.
Is it tight or loose?
It's tight.
I think you got some Euro shorts. I think you got some Euro swim shorts.
Well, they're working, baby.
That's hot.
It's hot.
That's hot, baby.
With my goggles and my nose plugs. Because what I realized is that
you nose plug. Oh,
I have to. When the water goes in my nose, it just burns instantaneously, and then I start. The snot just starts running out of my nose. I'm at the edge of the pool. So, nose plugs, game changer. If you ever think about listeners out there, if you're thinking about lap swimming and the chlorine affects you, just get some nose plugs. Look baller.
Yeah, you got to make sure you wash that chlorine off too, because otherwise it just gives you the pool sweats and you just sweat chlorine. You just reek.
Yeah, it's making my skin. It's making my the face skin super dry. So I've been douching up on the lotion.
Douching up. So. That totally reminds me. So you made that slip talking about you said I was going to go like turbo booster, and you said turbo boner in one of the episodes. And
I thought that was you.
No, it was definitely you.
Okay.
But anyways,
okay.
More often than not, I have used that in normal just conversation, and people look at me just like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Turbo boner?
And I just realized, oh my God, that is not something I should be saying, but it's just, I can't get it out of my head. When I think of somebody like going way too hard, I'm like, oh God, this guy is going turbo boner. And they're like, the fuck is he talking? So,
oh, that's pretty good.
That's not appropriate work vernacular. Needless to say.
Probably not. Yeah. Well, the same I have to catch myself repeatedly from saying basically what I just said, douching up a bunch of lotion on my face. My brain wants to say stuff like that all the time, and I have to catch myself.
Yeah, how many times? How many times as friends have we talked about like douching stuff in sauce and all that other kind of stuff?
Oh, for sure.
Ranch.
Douche that in ranch, or the hot sauce. We used to mess around with Hubble. Every time he would leave to go do something, we'd douche his pizza or whatever in Tabasco or the bomb sauce.
I think the wings and the bomb sauce was probably the worst. That was douched for sure.
That was douche. Because all you need is a toothpick dab to feel the insane heat. But
and if you
douche to those.
I mean, if you've seen Hot Ones, and they always have the bomb sauce on there every time.
Yeah,
and that's the one that fucking kills people.
Yeah,
and they're having it just very slightly on a wing. We put like 3 ounces on a wing.
Covered it. And he had no idea.
He could have died.
Well, he got so mad he left. You remember that? He left B-dubs before paying, and we had to pick up the bill, which rightly so. Rightly so. But
should cover the cost on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did ruin his meal.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I've been searching for new music last few days, and or something different, a new, jazz it up a little bit. And I stumbled upon a 90s house party mix, and I was really jamming out with that. And it's all the good stuff that we grew up with. And I was, listening to a lot of it, and I had this flashback to, I think it was sixth grade dance. And remember how we had them in the middle school gym, right?
Oh yeah, baby.
And
everyone stands around awkwardly.
Maybe 3 a year, something like that, or maybe 2.
Yeah,
a fall, a winter fall, and then a spring dance.
Yep.
And I remember one year, the thong song came up. That's Cisco, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would have been about the right time, right? That we were in maybe 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah, it was 6th or 7th
and I think that song came on because it's kind of weird now to think back about what DJs did they get to do middle school dances, right? That's so weird. As an adult, so weird to be mixing, playing all these songs for middle schoolers. But anyways, do you remember when I think the thong song came on, or something equally as suggestive, and everybody was having a good time, everybody was, vibing with it, and then all of a sudden, lights come on. And one of the parents wasn't having it, and so the rest of the dance, the lights were just on in the gym, and all the music changed remember this and stuff.
Yeah, the slow songs.
The slow songs, yeah, and if they were even allowed after that point.
Yeah,
but
it was probably somebody had their butt to crotch grinding in 6th grade and just kind of ruined it because parents were like, whoa, these are still little kids, which rightfully so.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Little kids. But it's just, it's the thong song. I don't know what
it's the thong song. Come on. You can't do anything else, right?
I do vaguely remember that that there was one dance that we had the lights turn on, and it was like a weird situation.
And I think there was a different dance also in middle school that whatever person they had scheduled to bring music with a PA system and everything didn't show. And so that dance was just a boombox in the corner of the gym. Do you remember that? Nobody could hear anything.
Have we talked about the Cory and the Fireflies thing before on this? Because that is what I think of. Keep talking about these terrible.
Oh shit!
There was a local band called Cory and the Fireflies out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, alternative rock band. They were kind of like the shittiest version of the Goo Goo Dolls that you can think of.
That's right. I always confuse the Goo Goo Dolls with Cory and the Fireflies.
Well, I don't know why you could confuse it, but
it's basically the same music, right? And I think the singers were largely similar.
The lead singer, I think, worked at the Guitar Center.
Cory.
But yeah, he worked at, yeah. But anyways, they were a local band, and somehow we got a connection at our high school that one of the parents knew Cory and the Fireflies, and they're like, we'll cover the cost, and we're gonna put this big concert on. There's a basketball game. You know what? We'll invite the opposing team to come to the
It was after the game, right? It was
after the game.
There were shirts. It was the shootout at the OK Corral, right? And it was against O'Gorman.
At the BV Corral.
BV Corral.
And
yeah,
there was a lot of work that went into this, and our principal at the time was like, "Oh, I used to work at the opposing team's school. They'll definitely come because we're gonna make this work." And so we're like, okay, let's do it. And then only our school showed up. There wasn't enough people that were gonna show up per se to pay. I think we did end up. I did think there was part that we had to pay.
Yeah.
So
I think the T-shirts, right? The T-shirts were supposed to pay for or subsidize the cost for the band, right?
Right. But there wasn't enough people buying shirts or whatever it was. So the family that knew the Cory and Fireflies were like, "We're just gonna cover the cost of this concert," and there ended up being like 50 people at this quote concert dance thing.
Yeah. In our commons, right?
In our commons, and it was just like a complete flop. And I was on student council. Yeah. We were on student council, so it was like one of the things that we were in charge of, and it was a complete disaster.
It's too bad he's not here because Bryan. The one thing I remember about that concert was Bryan crowd surfing, and then the principal apparating out of nowhere, yanking him down.
Get down! That was scary.
He just appeared.
It was like a gear change, and he was just like, "Rah!"
Yeah,
it was scary. But that was, man. I remember that we were there early, helping set up all the other crap. Oh man, I don't even know why. I feel like we were forced into that by adults. I don't think any of us wanted
for sure.
The Fireflies, but it was just like one of these things where like, okay, well, we'll try to make the best of it. So we'll make T-shirts. Yep. Those.
We never lacked for high school activity T-shirts. We had so many of those things.
Definitely not. I mean, we got a marching band T-shirt every year. We had our Y-ball team. We got 2 T-shirts.
Obviously,
we're ballers.
So part of why, at least for me, I think that what I'm remembering from that Cory and the Fireflies concert and why it was so kind of just lame, in addition to being Cory and the Fireflies and stuff, is that the basketball game was on a Saturday, I think, because it was a kind of a noonish time frame for the game. The concert, it was just daylight outside. So
it was early.
The commons, the lights weren't on, right? But it was still just super bright in this lunchroom. And Cory and the Fireflies is playing to a bunch of high schoolers.
The whole situation is just doesn't like it's again like thinking back to like these stupid trips like Ron John, and then thinking about like Cory and the Fireflies, and it's just so stupid. It's just so much a waste. I just don't get it. I have to think about this as my kids grow up, being like, this is dumb.
That crowd was basically just us and our friends and a few other people, right?
Yeah, that's it. Like, it was like, I feel like it was even just our class. There was no like underclassmen or anyone. It was just our class. Like, we were like the seniors and no one else showed up except these dumb 50 seniors.
Yeah.
Forced into it.
Shootout at the BV Corral. Oh man.
Probably doing pep band that night.
Probably. Right?
That day.
That morning.
Another thing is we talked about pep band. Why were we playing Skater Boy? Why was that a pep band song?
I have to imagine that we were playing Skater Boy because the band got some type of package deal on music. It was, buy this set, get Skater Boy for free or something.
Let's get one pep pop song.
Yeah.
Man.
Pep band, high school pep band, specifically the indoor pep band, was hard to stomach at times.
It was terrible.
Most of the time.
Yeah. It was.
Although senior year, I don't remember really playing that much because I remember being in the stands. So maybe seniors didn't have to do it or something.
Yeah, I think the underclassmen was mostly an obligation for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Freshmen and stuff. Because I remember doing it young.
Yeah.
Oh, good old days.
Good old days we used to know.
I can't remember. Have I ever complained about getting my hair cut on this show?
On the show? I don't know if you've actually ever have complained about it on the show. I think it's more just to the
in our group chat.
Friends. Yeah.
Another instance of JAD just complaining about something, but Spenny, it's so hard for me to find a decent barber in this city. And what's worse is that every time I go, it's expensive to get my dumbass haircut. And regardless of whether I like it at the end, I'm always tipping, and it's minimum $50 to $60 per haircut after tip and stuff. And more often than not, I fucking hate it. And part of the problem is that
why is it so hard to do a fade?
I don't know. It's just a fade, right? And I was talking to a friend about this earlier today, actually, and how I don't have complicated hair, right? It should be very straightforward to cut my hair into a fade. And yet, most of the professionals that I've seen in this city can't do it. Now, there have been a couple instances where I have found a barber that I like. And in one case, back in grad school, I found this person randomly at basically a budget type cuts place. And I really liked it. So I stuck with him. And every time he moved to a different studio or salon, I would follow him and, I'd get my hair cut. And at one point, he went outside the city into a suburb, and I would go there to the suburb. And then he just moved away or moved somewhere and stopped answering my texts.
Made it big time. Maybe he just finally made it big time.
Maybe.
Moved to LA.
Well, you bring that up because just a month or two ago, I randomly found another barber that I really gelled with. And we were actually introduced the show to him. He was telling me about how he's been in a movie. He was just in a movie and stuff, and it's going to get released soon. And I was telling him about this podcast and about other stuff. And he's really gelling. Loved the haircut. It was awesome. And towards the end of it, I said, "Thank you so much for cutting my hair. I really like it. It's been hard for me to find someone that, I can get a good fade from." And he said, "Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I'm moving to LA in 2 weeks." And that, of course.
Perfect.
But my most recent haircut was at yet another one of these barbershops in town, and with someone that I hadn't got my haircut from. And the haircut started chit-chatting and stuff, whatever. But as he was talking about just random stuff, he said that recently, as of within the last 4 or 5 months, he shaved his head. So, or with clippers, right? He just buzzed it down.
Yeah.
And because I told him that, maybe once a year or so, or throughout the course of all year, I'll grow it out, and then I'll be sick of trying to style it, and then I'll just buzz it pretty short, start over. And he said, yeah, I just did that somewhat recently, but it was because I thought my hair was falling out. And I said, oh, just committing, huh? He had a full head of hair when he was cutting my hair. And I thought, did you get something done? What's going on here? And he said, yeah, I just noticed that my hair was falling out all the time, and I just had these clumps of hair, and I was getting freaked out, and I thought I was going bald, so I just buzzed it down to see what was going on. And I didn't notice any bald patches. What I realized was that I was using so much pomade that the hair that just naturally falls out, because everybody just has hair fall out, was just getting trapped in the pomade, and it was just looking like I was losing chunks. And I was sitting there in his chair as he's cutting my hair, thinking, what? You're the hair professional here. Would you just not wash your hair for days on end, and you just let the pomade just pile up to the point where you had clumps of hair accumulating your scalp? And I thought, what? I've made a huge mistake. This guy knows nothing about hair and how hair works. He doesn't wash his head.
How was the fade?
It was acceptably adequate at the end of it.
So you're still on the hunt.
I'm still kind of on the hunt, yeah. Because, this was, again, a $60 haircut for an okay result. And maybe that's just what I should expect now. I don't know. Is that the norm? Is that the minimum?
I don't know. I don't get a fade, so I have no idea. But if anyone happens to be out there and knows of a good barber in Nashville, please write to us at boys@ascension10.com.
Yes, please.
Because JAD is at his limit, I think. He's going to go back to shaving his head.
Yeah, I'm just going to go just a straight dome.
Should we shave our heads one time? One night? One game? Show? Episode?
How about this? How about we what do you call it? Frost our tips. And then we just go full blonde. See how it looks. Do an episode.
I'll do sun in all summer. Just let that baby lighten up.
Yeah.
See if anyone
I think if we're gonna buzz our heads, we might as well do something kind of fun beforehand. So we just go bleach blonde. Do an episode, and
let's do it.
And then just shave it off afterwards.
Cool. Solid.
So write to us if you want to see that happen. We'll know that people are listening.
Say yes, bleach blonde.
I have to give I have to give a shout out. Well, not really a shout out, but the last episode we released, which was for Knights of the Zodiac, that was after we had taken a pretty extensive break yet again.
Yeah.
Another at least 3 months break, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually our, to date, most viewed episode on YouTube.
What?
And that is pretty cool. So thanks for tuning in. Now, I haven't looked at the analytics. It may have just been they clicked on the episode and bailed immediately. So, but for those of you that watched and or listened,
You don't have to say
it.
that. You don't have to say that. You can just say it was the most watched. So thank you.
It was the most watched. It was the most engaged.
The
episode.
analytics prove that it was the most watched. So thank you.
Yeah.
For watching.
Hopefully you've listening to this one. That would be interesting if we were just talking to ourselves here, which could be the case.
I do want to make a transition to movies. Before we get into the movie we're going to talk about, I did watch Dune 2 in 70mm.
You did? Nice. You snuck it in?
Snuck it in.
You've just been waiting to tell me?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it a Marvel like I had
I
thought it was, or
amazing.
Was proclaiming it to be?
Yeah, it was totally worth it. It was amazing. I mean,
yeah,
I can't get over just how cool that movie looks on film.
Yes.
In the epic proportions.
Yep.
It was. I don't think you can watch it any other way.
Thank you for agreeing with me.
And man, I love that movie. It was so good.
It was so good, so cool. It looked amazing. And to Spenny's point, so there's only a few. I think did I say that there's 19 70mm IMAX theaters in the country?
It's
that.
In the teens. Yeah, I can't remember the exact number, but yeah, it's
I'm very lucky to have one in Nashville that I can just go to, and I've seen 70mm. I've seen now Dune 2, Tenet recently, Dunkirk, and Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer. I don't know if Dune 1 was in 70mm or not. I saw it in IMAX. I just don't know if it was shot in that film. So I've seen, just blockbusters, right? Because in my opinion, I'm not really interested in going to IMAX movies that aren't meant to be
right.
The visuals are the reason you go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But when movies are made to look like that, then if I have the opportunity, I'm going to go to see it in that format. And Dune 2 was a spectacle to behold. And to your point about the film isn't perfect, right? There's glitches that happen and little pieces of fiber or whatever that are that get projected. And I think it just kind of adds to the whole thing. And it's because it's really not, it's less about being high def than it is about being enormous and immersive.
Right.
And because normal IMAX, it's still a kind of a rectangle format.
Yeah.
But with this 70mm, it's more of a square. It's huge. It's super tall.
Yeah.
And so worth it. I think my favorite part of Dune 2 was the scenes in infrared, the black and white scenes on
the House of the
Salusa Secundus, I think it was. So cool.
Yeah. That was
so thoroughly enjoyed.
That was
I'm glad you got to see it.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. And the other scene that I loved a lot, and it was a very short scene, but as Paul Atreides is walking through all the people to the temple, and they're all just kind of moving away as they're like zooming in.
It was that top-down shot, right? Yeah.
That's sweet.
Very, very cool.
Highly recommend if anyone has the opportunity to see it in 70mm to check it out.
Yeah. If you happen to be near a stadium that does that, it's worth a price because it is a spectacle.
It's odd for me because AMC Theaters is based here in Kansas City, and there's not one, which seems like if the headquarters of AMC Theaters is here, you would think there would be one. But
yeah, that's weird because we have Regals here.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know. We're lucky to have one.
Regal gets it, man. Regal gets it.
They get it.
Nice.
Speaking of movies, whoa. Wait, what's that? Oh no. Jeez. Oh shit. Some eagles. Some eagles flew by us. Well, if you're listening to it, this episode, I have these goggles that were planned for a gag 5 months ago. Get out of here. If you're listening, this won't make any sense, but if you're watching Ascension to 10 podcast on YouTube, you would have seen just now us being attacked by birds in what I'm imagining is going to look really good visual effects.
Totally.
At least as good as what was shown in this movie that we're going to talk about.
Oh man.
Birdemic, Shock and Terror.
Yeah. I mean, so this movie has taken on a life of its own. I mean, it's kind of a cult classic. There was this guy named James Gwynn, and he is the creator and director of this film. He made it on a $10,000 budget. It took him over 4 years to make because he was using money as he was going to do this movie. And he had this lifelong passion that he wanted to make a romantic thriller film.
Okay.
Well, this is the definition of romantic thriller. And he did a good job of just cutting it right in the middle from one to the other. But he could only film on weekends because he had a full-time job. So that's why it took 4 years to make. And he couldn't.
That's interesting because that sounds a lot like the autobiography of Miles Davis that we made. That sounds exactly like what how we made that movie.
That's very true. Now I think about it. That's all we did on the weekend for 4 years.
4 years. Man, we made that thing in 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, it took us no time at all. No script. No
script.
He, on the other hand,
this guy
had a script. We did much better. I think we were much better on our toes.
Yeah. Our improv was better than his 4 year script masterpiece.
So obviously this film never got picked up by any of like the film festivals, but he drove around in a van that had dead birds on it, and he misspelled the name of his movie, Birdemic, and he spelled it, I think it said it was Birdemic or something. I can't remember what it was exactly. Nice. But it caught on, like all these people saw him driving around with this, and it had the screaming bird noises. And so the first official screening was at a bar around the Sundance Film Festival. And it kind of
so he went to the film festival, but just did it.
Yeah.
Just rolled up a TV cart.
Yeah. And it
played it for some people.
And it kind of just picked up steam, and this company called it ended up there 2 young film guys started doing a documentary following him around, and they were ultimately the ones that helped get it distributed through the Severin Films.
Okay.
And so they signed it in LA. He thought signing this meant this was it. He's made it. So they signed the contract that night. They go out and he gets fucking smashed. And finally, like a couple years later, they have these Variety magazine. He's on New York Times. ABC's interviewing him. It's taking off, and the whole basically the whole premise was it's the worst film ever. And the guy, this James Gwynn, like, was really hurt at the fact that people were making fun of his film because he thought it was honestly good.
Eesh.
And it's not good. So that's kind of where like
that's it. You can't
Yeah, you can't. It's bad. Really bad. But he really thought he was a film guy and he made it. And
yeah, I mean it's even worse with it not being a joke. Right? As a joke movie, it's pretty darn good. But as a serious movie, it's insane.
Like knowing that someone like they really thought in their heart like this is good.
Sheesh. Sheesh.
Anyways, I mean, you can. I don't know. It's. I don't even know how to. It's like nothing else I've ever seen. I mean, we even saw Velocipaster, and like that is fucking funny. And this just is. It is. This is what you would call like uncomfortable funny, right? Like
yeah. If going into it knowing that, or if you were to watch this now after we talk about it, knowing that it was made with serious intentions, then it's just pretty much cringe the whole way through. There's no other way to experience it without just feeling cringe the whole time.
Another piece to the story for this gentleman is after all this traction came with Birdemic and people saying it's the worst, bad film ever, or the funniest worst film or whatever they call it. Like, so Paramount Pictures reached out to him and asked, for more information or wanted to meet with this guy. And he started going on interviews saying that Paramount Pictures had already agreed to do the sequel before a contract or anything. So that really threw a wrench into things too. And just so you know, they made 3 of these, Jad.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So we have more episodes.
more to discuss. But
this sounds okay. This guy is sounding a lot like Michael Scott then. With
he also wears a suit every interview
smokes.
with a tie.
Holy smokes! This is Michael Scott.
He has a Bluetooth. Oh man, I gotta send you. It's Vice did a whole episode on him, 30 minutes. So that's where a lot of this information was coming from. But he's a fascinating. Wow,
this is basically Michael Scarn. What's the movie that he made? Either way though. But just the lack of.
Isn't it Michael Scarn?
Scarn, yeah.
God, what is that movie?
But this guy just sounds completely unself-aware.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Well, do you have a synopsis for us?
Threat level midnight. That's what it is.
Threat level. Okay.
That's what Michael Scott said. Yes, I do. Okay, let's hopefully this comes together. In a cinematic marvel, you will never see eagles the same ever again. Imagine a film that places microphones on people's feet. The first 40 minutes is spent building a romance by using broken English to depict the love of 2 individuals who used to be in the same high school English class together but drifted apart. Now they are achieving their true career goals. He's a Silicon Valley hotshot who's a software salesman. He's about to make it big. And she's a model who's getting a film shoot in a strip mall and about to get the modeling dream job at Victoria's Secret. Once the romance has been established, this film does a 180 to all of our horrors of CGI eagles levitating without flapping their wings.
Very good. That's pretty much all you need to know about this movie. So it's birds. If you've ever seen Birds, but somehow with worse effects 50 years later, and a worse story.
That is this James Gwynn on a Dell PC did all the editing of the birds. He was supposed to hire a kid from film school to add some of this stuff, but once he learned how much it cost, he did it himself. So,
holy smokes!
I mean, this movie. Oh man! So the movie starts it is over 4 minutes of someone driving a rental Mustang through the hills and a garage band song on a 20-second loop. Just over and over and over.
And it's a dash cam of him driving through the hills, but you mostly see the dash, if that makes sense. So it's a guy with a camcorder in the passenger seat, and for some reason he's filming most of what's in the shot is just the dash. And the slowest driver that's ever been recorded. It's a Sunday drive.
Holy smokes.
And you see this kid driving, like Rod, right? And he's driving for minutes, and the title card rolls and the music, and he gets to finally this quiet little Main Street town where he parks and walks into this diner, and he the footstep noises are just way too loud.
Off the charts.
He gets to the restaurant, the waitress, who's in a later scene as a completely different character. Her voice is completely off. It's dubbed over somehow or something. And he sits down, sees this girl he kind of recognizes, leaves. She leaves. He follows her, gets her number. And so basically the entire first 10 minutes is him driving to breakfast that he never orders and never eats. And then he drives back.
And just to set the scene, when they're talking, one person talks. Cut. New camera setup. The person talks. Cut. Back to that person. They talk. Cut. Back to the other person. It's not connected in any way. It is like you were taking just clips from random movies and just putting them together. So it's just no cohesiveness whatsoever. And it was almost like I was getting really annoyed for like the first 15 minutes of this just cut back and forth. And it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, because it's shot as multicam, right? Or it's edited as multicam, but it's shot with one camera.
One camera.
And
good intentions.
He didn't even know about the tricks. You can make it look like multicam if you just kind of like offset the volume or the audio, right? So as one person's talking, you then just overlay that volume or audio with the next person's scene and just stitch it together, right? And no, it's hard cuts and there's pauses, right? They didn't even edit out the pauses before, between action and then them starting to talk. Yeah. And
the dialogue through the whole movie is broken English. Like someone that is, they can speak English, but it's not really their strongest suit, or the language, what am I trying to say? The script is written like somebody that speaks broken English. So both sides are speaking this really weird. It's a very awkward conversation on both sides. Yeah. And one of the things was the actors were trying to give him tips of, this feels a little like disconnected. Like, what if we change the words? He would not let anyone change the words. So that is why the whole movie, it sounds broken.
Wow. Yikes. I mean, props to them, right? Props to the actors for
just putting up with it, I guess.
Right. Yeah, putting up with it. So so Rod gets her number, and he goes to work, and half of this movie at least is him driving around, right?
Yes, there's a parking. There's a part where he literally takes the Mustang, goes to a gas station, and they film him filling it up. And then he's in traffic, and they just watch like a minute of this guy just sitting in rush hour traffic. It's like, what are we doing here?
It adds nothing to the story at all. So much of this movie is him driving around slowly. Even during the Birdemic scenes, it's him driving around so slow and then parking.
Oh,
it's a movie about parking, honestly. And
it's all the sights and scenes of parking. I mean, unbelievable. God.
So he goes to work, and he's closing this sale, and he says something like, what'll it take for me to get your business? Okay, I'll do that, and give you 50% off, right? Hangs up.
On $1 million sale.
Yes. His friend comes over. Hey, what's all the racket over here? I just closed $1 million sale. So that means the sale would have been $2 million.
$2 million. It's the most incredible. It's like the guy just handed away half the money.
Yep, half the money. Plus whatever else they wanted, right?
Right.
And
whatever that means.
Oh, God. And then it goes to them. They're playing basketball after that immediately. And one of them's just wearing a polo. And they take about 2 shots. And then they walk slowly over to the chain link fence that encloses this basketball area. And they're just, shooting the shit and stuff. And Rod says, I got this girl's number. We're going on a date. And so they go on this date. And one of the first things she asks is, so what do you like to do? What are your hobbies? And he says, I like to play tennis. And not 40 seconds before that, he was just playing basketball.
Also, he says, hey, man, I met a girl. We're going to lunch.
Yep.
They're going to dinner.
Oh, and then, okay, so she's talking about how she's a model and how he says, yeah, cool, right? And he's all supportive of it, basically. And she says, I really wish my mom would be more supportive of it. She just wants me to be in real estate. And then the next scene, or the scene after that, she's going to her mom for lunch. And one of the first things the mom says is, oh, I just love your modeling career. I've been so supportive of it.
Yeah.
The whole time.
The mom in this is actually the best actress, I feel, of the whole film.
She's the best actress, and yet she stumbles through all of her lines. There are times when she completely fucks it up, and she just keeps going. They didn't do retakes.
One cut.
They didn't do anything.
No, there's no fucking way you're doing a retake.
So much of these scenes, especially the interludes, but the dialogue, like you said, the microphone's at their feet and the music is so loud that you can't hear anything that they're saying.
It's literally the mic. I'm pretty sure it's just from the camera. I mean, I don't know what else. Sure. It's not like he plugged something in for a microphone.
It's definitely from the camera.
But oh my God, it's like, she's like landing her Victoria's Secret career, and she's at that 1 hour photo in a strip mall photo
shoot, right?
Posing with like her hand over her head, and there's a fan blowing on her. And then just some girl calls and says, hey, you made it to Victoria's Secret. You're going to be like the cover model. And it's like, oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. The most famous model around.
Right? The way Rod celebrates is he is getting solar panels put on his house. And
there's a
completely dressed in a suit. Solar panels. And there's this part where
full on suit.
The guy says, this is where your solar panels will go, and it just
points to the roof.
To the roof.
This is a non-trivial part of the runtime, and it's Rod buying solar panels for his roof. And at the end of it, he says, so how much is all this going to cost? And when he says whatever, and he says, 19,000, huh? Can you work with me at all? Well, I think I can take about $1,000 off. $1,000, huh? Looks at the roof. All right, you got a deal. It's just him buying solar panels. There's nothing more to it. There's literally nothing in it. I mean, and well, I guess it's relevant because this is like, okay, so this movie is part romance, part thriller, part fictionalization of an inconvenient truth, right?
Yes.
And because Rod's this green thumb, right, wants renewable energy and stuff, and he sells this, or he I guess is a stock owner of this company, NCT Tech or something, right?
Yeah.
The software company. And he gets many millions of dollars when the company gets sold, even though he's just a salesman, right?
Right.
There's huge
12
payday.
people that work for this company, and it just sold for $1 billion.
$1 billion.
By
Oracle. NECC Tech or something. And he then immediately turns around and starts this solar company. So
immediately. I mean, how many days has it been? Like 4 days?
It might be the same day, honestly, because he goes to lunch / dinner, and then he sells the company on the same day. Okay. He makes the $1 million deal that could have been $2 million.
Yeah.
As a present to himself, he buys $20,000 worth of solar panels from a solar panel company, right?
Yes.
The company that he doesn't own gets bought out and he makes millions. He then turns around and starts a solar panel company.
With nanotechnology. That's what it is.
I forgot about that.
He invented a new solar panel with nanotechnology.
So, but he also bought a competitor's solar panels, right?
Right. Well, he had to learn them first.
He buys solar panels and then immediately turns around and starts making his own solar panel company. So I guess I don't know, is he going to put those on his roof too? I don't know.
Dude, I don't know.
At this point, we're, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes into this movie, right? And the only mention of animals it's seals or something are getting pissed off, right?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of seals that are angry or something, and there's no birds at all in this movie. And so they go on this another date,
the only thing is, I think there's a dead bird on the ground in one of the scenes. Like the wind's blowing and there's a dead bird. And
on their date, right?
It. Yeah.
They're walking on the beach and she bends down to help it or something, right?
No.
And
yeah, now so, suddenly they're on a date.
We should say that the bird that's on the ground is the same graphic of a bird that's just rendered upside. The bird that's like flying, it's just rendered upside down and on the sand. And
very obvious. You're like, that's okay. That's
yeah. And then part of their date is they go to this garden area, right? And there are these parrots that are flying, but it's just them hovering without flapping their wings at all. Yes. And they're just looking at it.
I love the non-flapping wings birds that fly. They love it.
And they're standing there for way too many seconds, right? Yeah. They're just staring, looking at nothing.
That is a common theme of this film. Just standing around for way too long.
Also,
happening.
when they get to know each other, he's talking about how eco-conscious he is, right? And he says, I have a plug-in, my Mustang is a plug-in hybrid, right?
It's 100 miles per gallon.
100 miles a gallon. And the only thing you see him doing with it is filling it up with gas. And they could have shown him like plugging it in. But no, they have a full scene of him pulling into a gas station, parking at the gas station, filling his car up, and then leaving.
Unbelievable.
But okay, they keep getting to know each other, and she brings him over to her mom's house, right? Which they ring the bell. Did you think that was weird, where she had to ring the bell to wait to get into her mom's house? But anyways, they see her mom, and again the mom is just like, oh, I love my daughter's modeling career and stuff. Just after she was complaining about how her mom doesn't support it. And then they do that, and then later on they go to this club, right? And it's this song that
it's
Chad.
It's an Irish pub. It's an Irish pub, and there is a random black man singing "Just Hanging Out."
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out. They are the only people. This is another scene where for 15 seconds they are in silence walking into this restaurant.
Yep.
And there's one person working.
Yep. And they're dancing and stuff, and
on a night, and this guy is just singing and they're dancing by themselves. Yeah.
And the song is hanging out with my family, having ourselves a party. And then the rest of the song is basically all the family members basically trying to fuck each other, right?
Yeah. Hopefully we can link that in the description too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hanging out.
Well,
hanging
out. It's kind of a bop, really.
It is. I mean,
having ourselves a party.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst thing. So, not the worst thing I've heard. But that really is like that. This is kind of the last scene before like romance scene.
Yep.
And this
they go pretty hard.
We go from
the hotel.
We go from romance. We go to terror, shock and terror.
I mean, Rod takes her to the seediest hotel possible, I think.
Also, so they both live in the same place, but they go to a motel.
He has a house. He lives it by himself.
Has
solar panels, right? And they go to this nasty hotel, and
gross.
They wake up and the birds are attacking. And the opening scene of now the Birdemic is a bunch of just little CGI clip art birds. And they're dive bombing and causing explosions, right? When they land. And everybody's dying and it's chaos and there's oil fields erupted and then they just keep dive bombing and they explode and they're kind of like tap on the window. And if I could, I'm going to do my best to reenact what they wake up to. It's basically this. Did you hear that? That was the chaos on the other side of the glass.
Nailed it.
That was the shock and terror that they wake up to, and they barricade the window with the mattress and the bed frame. And
why? Like why?
And I don't know what can you remember? They can't get to their car for some reason because he lost his keys, and so they they leave and go to the next door, knock on it, and then these two people open up.
Yeah, the random couple next door.
And they're saying, "Oh, get it, come on in. You know, this is terrible. It's the apocalypse. We got a van though. We can get out of here." And so they all grab coat hangers and as weapons, and they form this tactical maneuver to get to the van where they're all in this kind of hypercube where everybody's facing out, and they, as one, tactically get to the van. And it's just them swatting, randomly swinging their coat hangers and stuff, and the birds are just kind of hovering there. And they get in, and it turns out Ramsey has a van full of guns, which he later says he used to be in the Marines, and Rod asks him, "Why'd you get out of the Marines?" And he said, "I just couldn't stand killing all the people anymore," or something like that. "Why couldn't we just give peace a chance?" And it's the same guy that has a van full of guns. And so, I mean, it's Birdemic, it's shock and terror, and they, they're trying to survive at this point. And
the next? We'll hurry through the rest, because the next part is the kids. They find the kids, right? Yep. Under the cars.
Yep.
And they get them. They save them.
Parents are dead, right?
Parents are dead. They get the kids. They get the kids in the car. And it's that awkward cuts.
Yep.
In the bus or in the van. And they're like, each kid, they go, "Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm hungry."
We're going to have to do our best to find this footage and overlay, because it truly is amazing. Because she bandaged them up, right? They had a couple wounds on their hands or something. Yeah. And there's a little girl, and she points to her. She's like, getting her hand bandaged, and she said, literally, and she said, "Thanks. Thank you." And then it points to the boy after cut, and he points to his fucking cast or whatever they put on his hand. He said, "Thanks." That little girl, though, she's like, "Thanks."
So funny. Unbelievable. But they're basically just they drive in this bus trying to get away. There's a scene where Becky decides that she's got to go to the bathroom, and they have to stop, and the girls go out, and they're like, and Rod is like, "Well, where's she going? Well, why are we stopping?" And
he's like, Ramsey, right?
Ramsey's
okay,
like,
first of all,
Becky needs to take a shit.
Okay, it's Ramsey is the guy that they meet, and Becky is his girlfriend. And this scene starts with Rod and Ramsey in the van. And Ramsey asks Rod, "Where's Becky?" Becky is Ramsey's girlfriend. He asks Rod. Rod says, and this is the line, "Where's Becky? She's taking a shit." Don't worry, Julie's with her, or whatever her name is, right? And it's them out in this field, right? And she has a roll of toilet paper, and she's about to squat down, and then she just falls over, because in the CGI of a bird going at Mach 20, like, clips her, right?
Yeah, but
and she's fucking dead immediately.
But Natalie, the girl that's with Becky, that's the main girl.
Natalie.
She has a gun.
Yeah. Just fucking starts blasting at her. At this bird.
Well, fun tidbit for you. The reason this whole scene came into play is because Becky had to decided that she didn't want to do the film anymore, and she was going to go to acting school in New York. So that was the way he killed her off.
She got a taste of the production, and they needed more, right? Where's Becky? She's taking a shit.
Shit.
The thing you need to understand about the actors is Rod never once showed emotion or put emotion in his voice. No. He said this line, "She's taking a shit." And
just like
the same as Same as when he was buying solar panels, right? And
or how much was the sale? $1
million. And so, okay, so Becky's toast, right? And then Ramsey finds out and he's all pissed and stuff. And then they just kind of drive away, right? And then they come upon this parking lot with a double-decker London bus, right? And it's a bunch of people in there trying to get out, but the birds are attacking, right? And so Rod and Ramsey start just weighing into the birds, like in the direction of this bus, right? And it's
Rod somehow is just a straight up marksman. Just
yeah.
With
a pistol, he can knock a bird out of the air 500 yards away. And this is the most chaotic nonsense of the whole movie. This whole bus scene where the actors in the bus, I don't think they were told to do anything other than just shout, because Rod and Ramsey come in and try and tell them to get out, but I don't think the actors were told that they should get out. And so it's so much confusion. And somehow they all fucking die, including Ramsey. Did that make any sense to you?
No, it didn't make any sense.
Ramsey somehow is caught up with the rest of the people.
Ramsey would be the one that should be alive.
Ramsey was the Marine with all the guns. Rod fucking took his van and everything else basically from Ramsey. And for some reason, Ramsey's just fucking in the middle of these 3 other extras that had to die. And maybe it was another scene where scenario where he didn't want to be in the movie anymore.
Maybe.
Because he's just out in the parking lot. And this death scene is all of them just covering their faces. Oh, yeah. And then it's a few seconds of that, and then they're on the ground. Yeah. And then they drive off. Then they have to go fill up with gas, and so keep in mind, it's apparently an apocalypse happening out right in the world.
Everyone's dead, really.
Everyone's dead. They make it to this gas station, which they went to 2 gas stations, right? And it was the exact same one each time. But with different people manning them. Because the second gas station they went to, the guy was not an English speaker, and they did not attempt to have him speak English, because she's just like, and it's just so unintelligible. The only thing you could hear him say was that gas was $100 a gallon.
Yeah.
And so they pay it. Keep in mind, he swipes his credit card, and yet no phone service anywhere on the planet, but the credit cards still work. And
it works. Stores that
they go in, they get the gas, and immediately they run into somebody on the side of the road, and Natalie's saying, we should help him. And Rod says, okay. He pulls over. Yet another scene where he drives slowly and parks. And this actor is somehow even less, shows less inflection in his lines. He's a big fat guy in a cowboy hat, right? He comes up to Rod's window and he goes, I need gas. And Rod says, oh, well, we just bought gas, $100 a gallon, and we need all of it we can get, but you can go back down that road and get your own gas. No, I think I'm going to take yours. Pulls out a gun. All right.
You're going to sell
Rod
me
says,
gas now.
Rod says, okay, we have a spare gas can in the back. Let me get it. And at gunpoint, he gets the gas can. Gives it to the guy. The guy slowly backs up, still pointing the gun. And just like Becky was taking a shit, this fucking Eagle Falcon comes in. It slits his throat.
His fucking throat.
He dies instantly, drops the gas can and the gun, and Rod doesn't get either. He leaves them both there on the road and just drives away.
Classic Rod. Just classic Rod. Dude's in shock. He doesn't even know what to do.
He's in shock and terror. Okay, the movie's almost over because they drive to the beach. Right, the kids are complaining about them being hungry, and
so hungry.
The previous time they said they were hungry. Keep in mind, this is all the same day. Everything that happens here with Birdemic is the exact same day. So the first gas station they went to, they got a bunch of snacks and water, and they drive and have a picnic outside during the fucking Birdemic, right?
Hey,
they're just all eating outside.
Rod's getting a fucking fishing rod out. He's gonna catch a fish, and they're gonna get a fire.
This is later now. This is at the end of the movie.
Okay,
so the kids say they're hungry again, and so they drive to the beach, and Rod pulls out a fishing rod and says, they're all walking down there. The kids, Natalie, they're all walking down to the beach, outside where all the birds keep attacking people.
Right.
And they are, Rod looks like he has a rod through his body, right? He's walking like a robot the whole time. And he says to Natalie and the kids, go get kelp or go get seaweed. I'll go get a fish. And then it's it's too many seconds worth of him way the fuck out in the distance fishing, right? And he comes back with a fish that's like this big, and they start they just put the fish in a fucking pot of boiling water. They don't do anything. I don't know anything about fish, but I don't think you just put an entire fish in a water bottle. So they boil it, right? Keep in mind, the kids are with them the whole time. Yep. Natalie got a shit ton of seaweed, and Rod got a tiny ass fish, and they're boiling it. And then the next scene is them plating out all this food, and Natalie gives them, the kids, a plate of food, and they said, "No, I want a Happy Meal." And Natalie just goes, ugh. And then they start leaving. Nobody eats. Nobody eats any food. And they start leaving. The birds come by. They're trapped in the van. Everything looks like they're going to die because they have no ammo, and one of the birds kamikazes into the windshield. And it looks like this at the end. And then some doves come, rounds up all the eagles, they leave. And then it's seriously like 3.5 minutes of them walking down to the beach and looking at the ocean.
Yep.
And then the credits roll. Where it just keeps looping them looking at the waves.
That's right.
It's a spectacle.
It's a spectacle. I feel like you can probably find something on YouTube that hits all the highlights.
Yeah.
So you don't have to watch the whole thing.
Yep.
But boy, it was a journey. It was hard to watch in one sitting.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie. Because it's the parts that we talk about that are funny are really funny, but there's a lot in between those that it's like, oh yeah.
Well, I think it's that time, Spenny.
This is the Ascension to 10 podcast. We read on an 11-point scale. Ascension being the worst thing you've ever seen, 10 being the best thing you've ever seen. Jad, this is an Ascension for me.
Yep. Here's the thing, Spenny.
Slam dunk.
When I watched this, I didn't know that the guy was serious about it. And so I watched the movie in the frame of a Velocipaster.
Yeah.
So I found it a little bit enjoyable because of the memories it elicited from making Miles Davis movie.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And the fact that somehow the guy playing Rod stuck to that character so well. He was almost like he was method acting.
And the fact that they did this for so long to make this movie.
Yeah.
Like thinking how he throughout the movie he was very consistent. He did not change.
Yeah. Same for Natalie, same for everybody. With all that in mind, I gave it a 2.8 because it was better than a lot of the stuff we've seen in terms of getting through it. Now, for reference, I gave Velocipaster 7.7. Spenny gave that as 5.6. This is within the same realm of that, but obviously not as good.
Yeah.
So 2.8 for me. That's the first time I think that you've given out an Ascension that I haven't.
Probably.
Just looking through all this stuff.
There's some funny parts, but man, for me it was hard to get through. I didn't know the stuff till after I watched it.
Okay.
And I still thought it was just a dog of a movie. So
I mean, it is a dumpster, right? But check it out if you want to. Write to us what your review was. Write to us if you have any typical days. It's been a minute since we've had a typical day.
We haven't done a typical day. Yeah, we need to make sure we have our typical day in line for next episode.
So please write to us. Please let us know if you're digging the show. We appreciate if you're still listening.
A movie too.
Oh yeah, it's been a minute since we've had that.
Since we've had one.
But the recommendations that we have had have all been good. Velocipaster was a recommendation, right?
Yeah, it was.
So was Cosmo Ball. So was, well, I can't remember.
Batman
and Robin.
Return. Yeah.
Yep.
Or Batman and Robin.
So to the listeners out there, you guys are giving us good stuff. So
yeah,
keep coming.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Next episode is gonna be Fifth Wave.
Yep.
So keep your eyes out for that one. I have no idea what to expect from that one. JAD found something randomly, so.
Yep. A bit more modern, though.
It is modern. So I have to imagine that at least visually it'll be better.
We don't know. Might be good for change.
That would. Yeah.
Well.
I'd say the only other thing I'll say is if you have Apple Plus TV, check out Constellation. The season finale was when we were recording this last night. I thoroughly enjoyed that. We are been fans of Severance. It's on that level, not quite
Silo,
as good.
Right?
And Silo, yep. It's not quite as good as those two, but it is very entertaining and has a very sci-fi twist to it. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. We just finished 3-Body Problem on Netflix, and that is based off of a trilogy, a book trilogy that is by far my favorite, maybe the best thing I've ever read, my favorite sci-fi I've ever read. And so I had really set a really high bar for enjoying that, and I enjoyed it. It's an interesting adaptation of the book, but also really, really well done. So I recommend it.
So
I probably recommend. I recommend the book. Yeah, the books are beyond phenomenal.
Nice.
So if you think you might want to watch the show, hold off until you read the books, because I think you'll appreciate it that much more.
Nice.
Or just watch the show, or don't do either.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the show's good without the book, then people that haven't read the book should at least still enjoy it. So that's it.
Yeah.
Just like Dune. You don't have to read the books to enjoy it, but certainly more entertaining.
Yeesh.
All right. Well, until next time. I'm Spenny. He's JAD.
Bye.
Bye.